Happy spring, everybody. I'm coming to you and doing my board leadership report by video, partially because we had to miss our most recent meeting, but also because I want to be sure that I do this in a different format so that I really get your attention, because the next meetings are right here. Now, all of these have changed a bit. I got with the executive committee when we weren't able to do our board meeting, and we decided that we needed to have a more uniform time. But also, those are the dates that not only are we asking that you put on your calendar, but that you hold on your calendar. Couple things that kind of came to mind was, life really happens. Y'all were very kind to me when my dad died and I wasn't able to do the board retreat. And I want to be very kind to you. May is a very busy time already. So I'm not asking for us to reschedule our board meeting, but I am asking for you to get those dates on your calendar and hold them. And when somebody tries to get that date, I want you to look at them and say, I'm so sorry, I already have a board meeting scheduled. And that'll help. The next thing I need to ask for some very quick help on, the development committee has been working very hard to put together its Certainty campaign. This campaign is aiming to raise $350,000 between this year and next. That will really help offset our budget for the foreseeable future as we grow into this time of reopening and deal with more uncertain revenues. We know that we're going to have to, leverage fundraising for the foreseeable future again. So the development committee has put together a letter and is asking each and every one of you to commit some time to come out to St. Columba and write little notes to our donors like we did in December. So between now and May 20th, which is next Thursday, that's what the development committee is asking you to do. And I would like to hear from you no later than Monday. We've already had, Amy already came out, Mary's coming out this morning. We need you to email me a time that you can come out and spend, about 2 hours signing letters. We have all the names. It's all organized so that you don't have to do the asking. The letter does that, but this is a way that you can say, really hope you will support. And that really does grow the impact of campaigns like this. So please do that no later than Monday and come no later than Thursday. We need to put it in the mail on Friday of next week. So my board report is a compilation of the work that we've been doing since our last board meeting. And really a lot that's happening is related to the retreat center. We have continued to work on setting up Johnson and Coleman Lodge, but our bookings this spring are entirely lighter than what we put into our budget. We thought by April 1st we would be up running at 100%, and that is just not what's happened. So phone traffic, though, for fall retreats is picking up significantly. Come August should be the first month where we have a more typical amount of bookings. So we really need to ramp up, but a lot of that has to do with whether the community's ready to gather. So I really believe in the work that we've done, but the one thing that we are running into is this. Our ministry is to provide hospitality for all people, and we're in this scenario where there's vaccinated and unvaccinated people. So many of you know that we've adjusted some of our capacities in all of our buildings and at our camps, and we've put together policies, but some of those policies get constantly revisited. Just yesterday, the CDC changed its mandates for wearing masks indoors if you're vaccinated, which is a really great thing, but it doesn't really answer the question of unvaccinated people at all. In fact, it probably inserts a little bit more conflict into the situation because people don't want to show and we don't want to ask whether they're vaccinated or not. Our mission will be to provide a space for everyone. So we're constantly having to revisit those policies. We have taken some of those policies and extended them through July, just because vaccination levels aren't at anything close to herd immunity. So capacities will be adjusted for a few more months in some of our buildings. And one of the things that I mentioned to our marketing committee, the average phone call for Suzanne when she's booking a group is somewhere around 10 to 15 minutes. That has grown to about 45 minutes to an hour, and it's guests and coordinators playing all these hypotheticals about masking, unmasking, vaccinated, unvaccinated, and it's really a challenging bit. So she's been really doing hard work, but it's a lot of hypothetical. And we've lost groups because some of them just come and expect to be able to do what they want. And then there are others who recognize that they can't mitigate the turmoil between their own group members around whether they will mask or not mask and all that sort of stuff. So some of our groups are choosing to wait till 2022 in hopes that, the world being more open helps to solve some of those that strife in between group members. Camps are really at capacity at this point. Capacity is roughly 40% of what we normally do. We normally have 200 campers per week. We've set capacity at 80. Matthew has brought in a brand new assistant director, Shelby Newstons, to start planning camp programs within this smaller camp. And one of the things that we're running into is that with the gap year, last year being that gap year, staffing is proving to be a challenging thing. So we're actively looking for more college students to be group leaders and adventure guides. We do have enough to kind of get camp going, but it's not really where we want staffing to be. So we are actively looking for more college-age staff. We are also, coming to the end of our construction period and working diligently to identify any what I would just call finishing problems. I found an issue with the sealant that was used on the floor of the new lodges, things like that, and chasing the contractor to come and do warranty based things. So we are at the end of construction and really the heavy lifting, but there are a handful more tasks that we are, reminding them are very important to us. So I've also started a conversation with Urban Earth, which is run by an Episcopalian, but to do a native planting landscape plan for the new lodges. And they're going to come out in just a few weeks to get their initial drawing together. They've warned that, some of it needs to be installed this year, some of it needs to be installed next year. And I said that we're perfectly willing to do that. Some of you may remember right at the start of the year, we received an extra $25,000 gift. And much of what we're going to aim to leverage that gift to do is this landscaping, to really help the lodges fit into the landscape, since obviously construction can be very hard on the land. So we have also been doing rocking chair dedications throughout these last months, and we have 9 of 16 that have now been dedicated. The staff has been having guests come in to use those lodges, and in exchange we always ask for what is your feedback. Like, we're trying to be sure that we know what you want. And so we have taken a lot of that feedback over the last 2 months, and we're going to add more shelves and hooks, desks for the bedrooms, front porch furniture to really have that space be a beautiful area, rugs. We've done an AV installation. So the staff is hard at work still on those buildings, but not in the construction phase. We are completely still on budget with our entire construction project. That's been a real blessing in midst of COVID and all of this financial crisis, that we are still on budget for our biggest project really ever. So I'm very thankful for that. On the facility side, some of you may remember I brought to the board an urgent need to replace our maintenance truck. Shortly after the board approved up to $20,000 to go buy a truck, Eric Epperson went out to dinner with someone who offered us a donated truck. So we are currently putting on hold buying a truck and instead favoring putting some money into this used truck. It does have less than 100,000 miles. It is donated, so we really picture for less than $3,000, we're going to get Jerry up and running again. That doesn't solve all of our problems. We still won't have a four-wheel drive vehicle, but that can be dealt with in other ways that I plan to bring to you as we kind of have the truck up and moving. We'll have a better sense of what we didn't get out of this truck. But a big part of this is in thanks to Eric for speaking up after we did all that. So thank you for that. Jerry is also living without an office still ever since COVID hit and we had to separate staff. He's still living without an office, so retrofitting our storage trailer to become an office is a project that we need to do. We have not regrouped to emphasize it because obviously he's living without a great deal of groundskeeping help, at least for now, and so he kind of doesn't need an office either. So, but it is something that we need to get our director of facilities back into an office at some point. So I just want to be sure that y'all know that we're paying attention to all those needs. Staffing wise, we have hired a temporary groundskeeper, Adam Cruthers, who many of you know, but also someone who's worked here a number of years as a camp counselor. He's going to serve the property maintenance staff, and he does a good job. So I'm very thankful to have him back working for us. He's going to be searching for a full-time job in career-oriented sort of way. But the reality is that he's been a really good insert of energy, especially because now it's spring and we're not outside cutting all the grass like we did last fall. He's a very welcome change. Initial job advertising for bringing in a new housekeeper has gone bad. We're hiring at $15 an hour, about 20 hours a week, and we have not gotten many applications in a number of avenues. And when I brought this up to our executive committee, they said, we're not surprised. We're hearing a whole lot about how staffing is very hard, especially for those part-time positions, because a lot of people are better off on unemployment. I'm hopeful that we're breaking through that. We do have a lead that we're following, but it is something that we need. We've doubled the square footage of St. Columba while also leveraging our 4 leadership staff as housekeepers. So it's a lot of housekeeping every Monday, and so we need to catch up and bring a housekeeper back on. Discussion of what it means for St. Columba to move from a small to a medium-sized retreat center have really been a big part of our staff conversations these last month, especially as we talk about rehiring. The first piece of that is housekeeping. We got to get housekeeping up and going so that we have a dedicated staff member who's going to be caring for our buildings immediately after our guests leave. But also, we need to bring back a kitchen manager, and that's a full-time job that we got rid of during COVID that needs to come back. We've currently put that off to about July 1st. Part of the reason we did that is one of our former summer camp cooks is willing to come back and run the camp kitchen this summer. So because our heaviest load of retreat groups starts August 1st, we want to bring in our new food service manager July 1st. So Matthew and I are currently writing a job description, and we'll start communicating it any day now, actually. And that'll be a full-time food service position right at a living wage. And so after they're here, they need to rebuild the kitchen staff because we lost a lot of our part-time employees too. But there's also a bigger need that I'm trying to get the board thinking about and the staff thinking about. Some of you may remember at the beginning of the year when we were talking about the PPP and our 2021 budget. Y'all expressed the desire for me not to do much of the accounting and bookkeeping anymore. And combined with the 4 leadership staff rotating weekends and taking a lot of the hospitality off the plate of a larger staff and into the plate of a smaller staff, I really want us to start thinking about moving from a small organization to a medium-sized organization may need another administrative staff member. An operations manager is really what's on my mind. Someone who would manage invoicing, contracts, deposits, the front-end bookkeeping that the diocese depends on us to do, but also someone who can manage weekend groups and really provide a level of hospitality. When we rotate, we do a good job with hospitality, but we all know that with consistency comes a really big value. So I'm starting to think about whether we might leverage one of our hermitages as a residence for an operations manager. And I happen to have someone in mind for that position. What we don't have is the money to do it, or at least clarity on the money to do it. I believe our 2021 budget can hold a position like that, especially because several months ago I applied for the employee retention credit, but the reality is that we have not received that retention credit. So I am working with the finance committee and then hopefully the personnel committee to really talk about a staffing structure that helps us to break out of COVID with a new sense of strength, a new sense of hospitality, and a new sense of how do we need to manage our guests in these new buildings in the process of becoming a center that's at 100%. If we're trying to leverage just 4 staff members to get there, it's going to be a really challenging year, and it already had been an already challenging year. So this is something that's on my mind and on my heart, and it's something that I want to bring to you because I want to ask for your support, but I don't exactly know how to do it yet. As you know, office space would be an issue. As you know, financial leverage is an issue. But the higher capacities that we're talking about for the long term for St. Columba is the other piece that I am thinking that we need a better response to. So that brings me to the end of my board report. I am looking forward to a really wonderful summer camp this year. I am looking forward to having each of you visit camp if you would like. But again, I need to ask before ending this video that you email me no later than Monday to arrange a time to come sign those development letters, because that obviously is how we can change the story in relationship to the financial leverage that we've lost through COVID, but financial leverage that we need to get back. I'm thankful for all the work that you do as our board. I'm thankful for the staff that we have assembled here, and I look forward to the really great things on the horizon. So thank you very much.